Know within that you are truly a divine being here in the material world of ours on earth. Once you place a thought into your imagination about who you want to become, I encourage you to live from that end as if it had already materialized into the physical realm. And when you are able to passionately feel whatever it is that you wish to have or become, as long as it is aligned with your highest self, that is, with God, you become it, and it becomes you. I know that when you begin to go beyond the intellect and feel the presence of what you most desire as an already present fact and live from it with unabated passion, you merge into it and come to know the truth that the laws of the material world do not apply in the presence of the God realized. Your invisible self is extraordinary because it is a fragment of the universal soul which itself is infinite. The part of you that knows you have a greatness and is stirred by the idea of you expanding and removing any and all limitations, your concept of yourself is everything that you believe to be true. And everything that you believe to be true about yourself has landed you precisely where you live and breathe every day of your life. Your beliefs about yourself are like the ingredients in a recipe that you use to create your self-concept. If you refuse to assume the responsibility of the incarnation of a new and higher concept of yourself, then you reject the means, the only means, whereby your redemption, that is, the attainment of your ideal, can be effected." Unquote. Get this clearly in your head in this first chapter. A higher concept of yourself involves taking on new truths and shedding your own views of what you can achieve. This is the only way you can achieve your desires. That is the reason I'm stressing this early in this book. You must begin by replacing your old set of truths with a belief in the existence of a higher self within you. This is something that you may not have contemplated at an earlier time in your life. Your concept of yourself, that includes any limitations, can be revised by you and only by you. Nothing I say or write will do that for you. I have done it for myself, and I can assist you along this path, but it is your decision to change that creates the possibility of change within you. A new and higher concept of yourself may be shocking and perhaps even be rejected by you, depending on the amount of conditioning you have absorbed throughout your life. That is for you to ponder and contemplate in the next two chapters. At this point, simply allow yourself to imagine that you can create a new and higher concept of yourself. Resistance is what will almost immediately appear for most people, and I encourage you to recognize the resistance within yourself. We have assured the indwelling self that it can be anything it accepts and has faith in, and we are now about to develop in it the habit of choosing only those thoughts and ideas that will constructively add good unto it. We are teaching ourselves to accept only good. We are deliberately compelling ourselves to accept all love, all kindness, all hope, all joy, all expansion, all abundance, all health, all vigor. We are deliberately compelling ourselves to reject all suffering, all sorrow, all depression, all morbidness, all inferiority, all aches and pains. We are saying nothing is true but the great and the good and the beautiful. Only these will we add unto ourselves. Our higher self is perfect, omniscient, and almighty, a fragment of God himself. In order to accomplish becoming an almighty being, your higher self, that is God, must be enlarged from a spark to a more meaningful portion of your essence. Since you are a piece of God, and therefore have that within you, you needn't doubt your own divinity. As Jesus reminds you in the New Testament, "Is it not written in your law, I have said, you are God's?" As a growing spark of God, you must be willing to say, that portion of myself that has not edged God out, that is ego, must be perfect. It is all-knowing, and it is almighty. There is nothing that this higher self, that I am, cannot accomplish. With God, all things are possible. All things are possible leaves nothing out. This higher self, that portion of God that is us, only begins to notice us and give us the attention we crave when we enlarge it from a tiny spark and invite that energy into our life. Your awareness that God isn't something external to you, but rather a portion of yourself, is truly a giant step in your spiritual evolution. You can tell yourself with genuine knowing, I am perfect. Your higher self is a piece of an all-loving, all-embracing, creative source. All you need do is accept that this is not something external to yourself. It resides within you. The kingdom of heaven is within. In fact, it is you. And all you need do is begin to align yourself with this divine essence. Begin to act like it acts and think like it thinks. And you will begin the process of manifesting just as it does. This is the true essence of living a life in which your wishes are fulfilled, giving your divine nature a chance. Toss out any self-limiting ideas about your divine nature and what it is capable of achieving. Befriend that spark. Consult it frequently. Nurture it. Pay close attention to it. Believe in it. And practice describing yourself first as a spiritual being, one who lives as frequently as possible from this all-loving, all-giving, all-joyful place called your higher self. Your higher self is just what it says, higher than your false self, higher than your material physical self. It is the part of you that is aligned with your very source of being. Not only do you have a lower ego-based false self, as well as the spiritually based higher self that is a piece of God, but you have a highest self, a self that you have been trained to believe is not something that you should ever claim. Your highest self awaits you right now. In what I am about to say or do my desires stem from my lower or my higher self? The higher self is about serving, loving, and being in a non-judgmental state of peace. Ask yourself this question and create the opportunity to align yourself more fully with God. You then have access to the same powers of manifestation as your source of being. This question, when honestly explored, helps you align with the power to fulfill your wishes and desires. You don't need to abolish your ego animal nature. You do need to keep it tamed, but it isn't allowed to overshadow or destroy your spirit. Give your divine nature a chance by asking yourself this question. Right now, in what I am about to say or do my desires stem from my lower or my higher self? A very important question. Spend some of your quiet meditation time visualizing a tiny spark of awareness glowing within your being. Practice seeing this God portion of yourself expanding its glow within your mind. See it growing into a personally satisfying size. Continue this expansion exercise, sensing the spark and glow as your God essence. You will begin acting from this inner God-realized image. Use these affirmations frequently. I am all-knowing. I am all-powerful. I am unlimited. This helps you banish doubt and refer to this portion of yourself that lives in a spiritual world of no restrictions. Simply affirm to yourself without explaining to others or demonstrating pride in what you're doing. You are ridding yourself of ego-dominated mental messages that continue to want to convince you that you are primarily your body and its five senses. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, being in the form of God, did not consider it robbery to be equal with God. You move from being a spark or a fragment of God to being able to assert that I am God, and not feel as if you're committing blasphemy or a cardinal sin by such a declaration. Here, the idea that you are equal with God was promoted by Jesus Christ, and you are encouraged by him to let this mind be in you. This isn't the God created by humans, the ego-driven deity who plays favorites and requires ostentatious places of worship, has temper tantrums, demands reparations, and is filled with rage, punishing those who do not do his bidding. Not even close. I am speaking here of the creative source of all being, a God who is responsible for creating the miraculous movement from non-being to being, a God who is formless, who does nothing, yet leaves nothing undone, a God who is everywhere. This is a divine invisible presence that's within you. This idea is at the basis of all great spiritual teaching throughout all time. Much of organized religious teaching proclaims that God is an all-powerful being outside of you. That idea has been thrown at you since you were old enough to process this absurd notion. God, you were told, watches you and punishes you if you misbehave, but listens to your prayers and helps you resolve your conflicts if you do the right thing and please him. Perhaps it is a radical idea for you to declare, I am God, and God is love, or to believe that he who abides in love abides in God and God in him, from the book of 1 John 4:16, is who you actually are. When you are this God, your essence of pure love, it is all you have to give away. And when you realign yourself in this vein, once again quoting Jesus the Christ, quote, with men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Now, all things are possible leaves out nothing, including your ability to fulfill any and all wishes that are aligned with God. You may find it difficult at first to be able to assert to yourself that I am God. But when you put it into the context of God as love, and pure love allows you to be almighty, all-knowing, and God-realized, you will, I assure you, begin to regain the omnipotence that is your essence from the moment of your transition from non-being or spirit to being, that is human. I emphasize these teachings of Jesus to show that the declaration of I am God is not only not in opposition to the teachings of Christianity or other spiritual practices, but is fully aligned with these earlier teachings. The reason it may seem blasphemous to say that I am God is because we've adopted the God of the ego, created by humans from ego-based ideas of a God that imitates our most unholy human attributes. This is the ineffable secret, the ultimate illumination, the key to peace and power. You are God. If you will accept this towering truth, dare to stand atop this magnificent pinnacle, universal consciousness will be revealed to you from within. God is there. It is he who peers from behind your eyes, who is your own consciousness, who is your very self. You are not just a part of God, you are altogether God, and God is altogether you. This is your highest self. It's indeed a towering assumption, but one, if used in context and alignment with the creative source of all, that is the key to mastering the ability to live a life of your own wishes being fulfilled. After all, with God as you and you as God, all things are possible. Neville's words remind me to seek my highest self, and whenever I make the decision to live from this awareness, I am immediately at peace and watch as divine consciousness seems to align with me in creating the fulfillment of all that I ask for. In all creation, in all eternity, in all the realms of your infinite being, the most wonderful fact is that which is stressed in the very first chapter of his book. You are God. You are the I am that I am. You are consciousness. You are the creator. This is the mystery. This is the great secret known by the seers, the prophets, and the mystics throughout the ages. This is the truth that you can never know intellectually. The important thing is that it is within you. It is you. It is your world. The knowledge that your creator is the very self of yourself and never would have made you had he not loved you must fill your heart with devotion, yes, with adoration. It is when your feeling of reverence is most intense that you are closest to God. And when you are closest to God, your life is richest. You can't be any closer to God than to be God. When you realize this preeminent assertion, you regain the power of your source because you no longer live as if you were estranged from your source. You see that God manifests in a countless array of forms. And yes, you too are one of those sublime forms. I am is the full activity of God, and that each and every one of us can realign ourselves so that our I ams reflect the God that we are, rather than the ego that most of us have become. Here is one more very important observation from the first discourse offered by Saint Germain. Quote, the first expression of every individual, everywhere in the universe, either in spoken word, silent thought, or feeling, is I am, recognizing its own conquering divinity. The student, endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws, must stand guard more strictly over his thought and expression, in word or otherwise. For every time you say, I am not, I cannot, I have not, you are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, throttling that great presence within you. Every time you think of the expression, I am, you initiate God in action. Why not continually remind yourself that I live, move, and have my being as God, the I am that I am? These 5 words, I am that I am, contain a message that has been encoded in your soul. According to ancient spiritual teachings dating back 1,300 years before the birth of Christ, the words I am align you with the divine, and at the same time remind you that you are the divine, possessing the same power to create as God. God speaks as I am. Be still and know that I am God. The I am that has been with you in all the physical forms you've occupied since your birth is God. The 2 words, I am, are God's name. How do you use these words? You strive to know, just like God taught when he said, be still and know that I am God. That with the use of God's name, you release all doubt about being able to manifest your desires, and you live from the exalted pinnacle of your highest self. Just to reinforce this idea that you are indeed the I am that I am, or God, consider moving forward to the time when Jesus the man was on earth. His words let you know that this idea of declaring yourself as I am God is not some New Age interpretation, and it's in no way offensive to Christianity. You are not guilty of blasphemy by allowing this belief to be alive within you. If you're experiencing pangs of guilt, re-listen to the display quote at the beginning of this chapter, which was written by St. Paul. Yes, you are equal with God. It's okay. Jesus speaks as I am. In the book of John, when Jesus is asked if he has seen Abraham, he responds with these words, Most assuredly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. That's John 8:58. Here Jesus indicates that God, the creative source of the universe, defined as love, is called I am. Throughout the New Testament, many of the most significant messages offered to all of us begin with the name of God, a name that you too have come to use. By using the words I am, Jesus tells us that he is one with God. He doesn't just say the name, he claims it as himself, and, as you will soon see, asks you to do the same. Here's James Twyman in the Moses Code, quote, when Jesus came along and basically said, I am God, they responded in the harshest manner, and yet this is the essence of the Moses Code, the realization that we're all one with God, and once realized, to act with the power and passion of God in the world. When Jesus did this, miracles followed him everywhere he went. And I say to you emphatically that by internalizing this message and knowing it, you too will have miracles occurring in your life. Here are some of those powerful messages from the teachings of Jesus in which he invokes the name of God as a prefix to his admonitions to all of us. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved. I am the good shepherd. I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. Jesus said, I am the resurrection, the transcendent being of light made of God. God is love, and that is in all of us. It is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak to you are spirit, and they are life. When Jesus says me, or I am the way, he isn't talking about his bodily self, the man who walks and talks. He is speaking as God, whose name, he has told us, is I am. He reminded us that the flesh counts for nothing, so we can presume he is speaking about his own flesh as well. He further confirms this point by saying, "The words that I speak to you are spirit, and they are life." The person who was Jesus knew that the creative source of the universe is the words, "I am that I am." He was wise and holy enough to realize that the words "I am" were the Spirit of God speaking and not the human body comprised of flesh and bones. This is the essential message of this chapter on your highest self. You are God. Jesus later speaks to you in these words, "Most assuredly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these he will do." There's that me again, the same me that is you, when you stay aligned and know that you too can and will do great and greater works when you cast out all doubt about your own divinity and live as you are encouraged to live, not just as a piece of God, but as God himself. Yes, you need not consider it robbery to be equal with God. This is the logical sequence that can and will allow you to change your concept of yourself and recognize your divine nature and the fundamental truth that when you become one with your Creator, as co-creator, you gain all of the powers that are inherent in saying, "I am God," meaning, of course, that God is love. As Neville so succinctly stated, quote, "It is I am's concept of itself that determines the form and scenery of its existence. Everything depends upon its attitude toward itself. That which it will not affirm as true of itself cannot awaken in its world." See if you can accept this logical sequence leading to a new concept of yourself as God altogether. God speaks to Moses and announces his name for all future generations to know. I am that I am. Jesus, some 1,300 years later, acknowledges God as I am. Jesus reminds us that he too is God with his many I am the way pronouncements. Jesus tells us that we are all equal with God. Jesus assures us that he speaks as spirit and that the flesh counts for nothing. Jesus tells us that we too can do all that he does because we are God also. You are God, the I am that I am. Know it and stay in harmony with this divine I am presence. Perhaps now it doesn't sound so foreign to you to assert your divine nature. You might just want to start by being careful not to use the words I am when describing yourself in any way that isn't congruent with your newly awakened, God-realized self. Yes, indeed, earth's crammed with heaven, and you are earth, filled to overflow with God. So take off your shoes and respect the holy space that is you. I am the resurrection and the life in thought and feeling. It immediately turns all the energy of your being to the center in the brain, which is the source of your being. You cannot overestimate the power in this statement. There is no limit to what you can do with it. It was the statement that Jesus used most in his most difficult trials. Keep uppermost in your thoughts the words of Jesus. God is love, and that you are proud to be that all-powerful God yourself. Everything which you can conceive and accept is yours. Entertain no doubt. Refuse to accept worry or hurry or fear. That which knows and does everything is inside you and hearkens to the slightest whisper. What is now proved was once only imagined. Being is born of non-being. It is the Spirit who gives life. You simply know that you have an imagination, and that this imagination is the source of all being. It is up to you to channel and use this magnificent endowment to work in the creation of all that you choose to place in that imagination. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. Be willing to dream and imagine yourself becoming all that you wish to be. If you live from those imaginings, the universe will align with you in bringing all that you wish for, even more than you imagined when you were living at an ordinary level of consciousness, or what Thoreau called common hours. Keep in mind this basic axiom. If all that now exists was once imagined, then what you want to exist for you in the future must now be imagined. Recall that I am God doesn't refer to your body in any way. It refers to the birthless, deathless, changeless spirit that remains in all the changing forms your body takes every moment of your temporary life here on earth. I am God. I am capable. I am strong. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am happy. I am the conquering presence. I command this I am presence to govern perfectly my mind, my home, my affairs, and my world. You too have been bestowed with the I am legacy. You can make the choice to reprogram your imagination to take you where you intend to be in the now. Creation originates in the world of spirit, or to say it differently, your imagination is the source of all that has yet to manifest for you. By staying only with what your senses tell you is your reality, you place a barrier to letting your imagination create all that you wish, all that you desire. Your imagination is unlimited. What is today is restricted by just that, what is today. Albert Einstein made this astute observation. Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Your logic, that is, the facts that you've accepted as true, have gotten you to point B. Now you're going to reprogram your imagination to take you everywhere, and everywhere that you are brave enough to envision for yourself. You will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. Thoreau suggests that the universe will begin to conspire with you to fulfill your wishes. It isn't just your imagination that will bring you what you desire. It's the fact that you're realigned with the I am that I am. When you become it in your mind, you gain the same powers as that which you are now casting your lot with, God or the Tao. Your highest self and your imagination. The essence of you, the you who is a spiritual being having a temporary human experience, is cultivated in your imagination. The I am that I am, that is, the you that is God, is impervious to the senses. There's an invisible realm within and around you that is you, and your imagination is your key to realigning with this I am presence, which Einstein said will take you everywhere. Within this realm, guidance is always available when, number one, you are open to it, and most importantly, two, when you are aligned in body, mind, and spirit. This means living in harmony with your own personal dharma, feeling on purpose, living the life you are intended to live, and feeling the presence of your highest self at work. This guidance comes in ways that you don't experience when your life is off purpose, or when you prefer negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, worry, hatred, sadness, and the like. Each of these dubious emotional states takes you away from your God-realized self. Remember, God's name is I am. So how could God say, I am afraid, I am worried, I am angry, I am sad, and still be God? Impossible, because God is love, and God is oneness. In order for God to be afraid, or worried, or angry, or sad, she'd have to divide herself and have something other than self to fear, or worry about, or hate, or be sad toward. This would make God two, that is, herself, as well as an other to feel gloomy or angry toward. And God cannot do this and still be God. And so it is with you as well. Every time you put a non-God descriptor after I am, you negate your divine nature. The words I am are your sacred identification as God, your highest self. Take care how you use this term, because saying anything after I am that's incongruent with God is really actually taking the Lord's name in vain. Practice using imagination to define yourself only in ways that are compatible with your highest self, and the universe will supply the happiness and the love and success that you previously imagined eluding you. This is the meaning of Thoreau's statement, meet with a success unexpected in common hours. Common hours are the times you spend in ordinary awareness, unaware of the nature of your God-realized being. I emphasize this based on my own experience. As you've heard many times, with God, all things are possible. This divine force awaits your imaginative energy. It can quite easily send the right people at the right time. Your highest self says, of course, though it appears mystifying at the time. This happens naturally when you turn your attention and your imagination to God within. A sacred sense of rightness lets you know you're evolving to a new level rather than living through your ego's limited ideas of who you are and what you can or can't become. Now to him who was able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us, understanding imagination to be him that is able to do all you ask, and attention to be the power by which you create your world, you can now build your ideal world. Imagine yourself to be the ideal you dream of and desire. Remain attentive to this imagined state, and as fast as you completely feel that you are already this ideal, it will manifest itself as reality in your world. Become adamant about your imagination being your private, sacred inner space. Be clear that no one is ever allowed to besmirch it in any way. Speak to your imagination with reverence. Pay homage to it. Stay in a constant state of gratitude for this beautiful inner sanctum that is your highest I am that I am, which you share with the creative source of the entire universe. Place no limits on what you allow yourself to imagine, and store those exalted ideas in a private place within you that no one is capable of sullying or discouraging. Place a keep out sign at the edge of your imagination to remind yourself that this is a private venue. Invite the mysterious, unseen world of spirit to guide you. Create an atmosphere of allowing it in without pushing it. Recall St. Paul's advice, quote, "That which is seen hath not come from that which doth appear." It all comes from spirit, and your own imagination is that very spirit if you stay aligned with the unseen. In the presence of him whom he believed God, who gives life to the dead, and calls those things which do not exist as though they did, and calls those things which do not exist as though they did. This is how God works. Your imagination, when aligned with the highest principles of your highest self, is God at work. My imagination is where my thoughts are the thoughts of God, and thus I am God creating what I know is already present. I am calling that which does not exist as though it did. Knowing and feeling this means nothing can dissuade me from this creative force in my imagination. Disregard appearances, conditions, in fact, all evidence of your senses that deny the fulfillment of your desire. Rest in the assumption that you are already what you want to be. For in that determined assumption, you and your infinite being are merged in creative unity. And with your infinite being, that is God, all things are possible. God never fails. By placing new I ams into my imagination, my future dream is a present fact. This new concept of yourself as God, or at least as a spark of God, asks you to think like God, who calls those things which do not exist as though they did. Here you are creating an ideal of what you want to be and assuming that you already are that person. This is what Neville calls the law of assumption, and he states emphatically, if this assumption is persisted in until it becomes your dominant feeling, the attainment of your ideal is inevitable. Remind yourself that your imagination is yours to use as you decide, and that everything you wish to manifest into your physical world must first be placed firmly in your imagination in order to grow. Again, let Neville's words guide you. Quote, "Therefore, to incarnate a new and greater value of yourself, you must assume that you already are what you want to be and then live by faith in this assumption, which is not yet incarnated in the body of your life, in confidence that this new value or state of consciousness will become incarnated through your absolute fidelity to the assumption that you are that which you desire to be. This is a total transformation of your entire being. Within your imagination, you can conceive thoughts of what you want as already here, prior to their birth in form in the sensory world. This means that your thoughts aren't along the lines of, I will be, I hope it works out, I'm praying for good results. Instead, you say to yourself, I am, acknowledging the I am presence as God dwelling in me. Then your mind as that I am presence will become the dominant creative feature in your life. This generative force will gently assert its authentic creativity and power as you conceive it, and in the process replace a dependency on your physical and intellectual abilities. Your renewed reality does not rely exclusively on those five senses that keep you attached to the false beliefs that you are your body or its possessions, achievements, and its reputation. You've already discovered that the different bodies you've occupied throughout your life so far no longer exist for your senses to experience. Now you can choose to consciously participate in this non-sensory supreme reality, your imagination, where you assume your future dream to be a present fact and live from this new awareness. This isn't pretending or fooling yourself. It is inviting your spirit, rather than your physical form, to generate this creative essence of your reality. It's what it means to transform your life. The word transformation has the word form right smack in the middle, preceded by trans, meaning going beyond form. Live from the place that will indeed take you way beyond the limits of your seemingly limited life. Explore imagination, which is the source of all being or physical reality. Hold your vision relentlessly, and more than that, live each day as if that idea you have in your imagination is in fact your reality. In the I Am discourses, Saint Germain repeatedly reminds us that we are the master and that we have dominion in our lives, and once this is part of your awareness, you can access the energy and the power and the intelligence of the mighty I Am presence, which is your very birthright. This I Am presence is always with you. The more you believe in your own divine nature, the more it starts to become real for you. When you realize your own magnificence, you will only attract magnificence into your life. And if you believe in things like attracts like, then the absolute best way to attract what's best for you is to love yourself to the point where you are filled with love, and will only attract to your life everything that confirms this belief about yourself. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. Your I Am for this is simply I am love. Live from this awareness rather than the expectation that someday you'll arrive there. The only thing you need to learn is that you already are what you are seeking to attain. I am inviting you to live this way, first in your imagination, be it. Then live your life in the way St. Paul suggests, treating those things which do not exist as though they did, and surely they will become your reality. Quote, let the weak say, I am strong. Joel 3:10. It is truly as simple as these 7 words from the Bible advise. If you say, I am weak, you defile the name of God, that is your highest self. How is it possible for the creative source of the universe, the source energy responsible for creating worlds, to say, I am weak? As I quoted previously, Jesus said, is it not written in your law, I said, you are God's? So how can you, as you now operate in your life from your highest self, ever even think such a thought as I am weak, let alone define yourself in such a blasphemous manner? By thinking I am strong, you place in your imagination the tools you need to achieve your pronouncements, and you align with the source of all, with strength instead of weakness. By creating an ideal in your mind, you can identify yourself with it until you become one and the same with the ideal, thereby transforming yourself into it. Commit yourself to your own magnificence. Every time you look into a mirror, remind yourself that what stares back at you is not an ever-changing body, but an invisibleness that is truly your highest self. Affirm, I am love, I am God, I am worthy, I am infinite, silently and even out loud. Do this frequently so that it eventually becomes your inner mantra. This is not an ego exercise. It's an awakening to the incredible miracle that you are. With God, all things are possible. Your imagination is yours. You are free to place anything in there at your discretion. I am talented, I am heroic, I am ecstatically happy, I am wealthy beyond words, I am content, I am God. Be fearless and let those ideals be your reality. Decide what you want to do or become, and then, ignoring any and all interference, repeatedly say, quote, I am the presence doing it, unquote. Treat this as your calling to love and adore your own mighty I am presence, so that it always anchors and fortifies you. Every time you use the words I am with anything, you are also calling in the divine power to do whatever you are proclaiming. Implement these 3 suggestions and enter a dimension where there isn't a shred of doubt about your divinity and power. That which you feel yourself to be, you are, and you are given that which you are. So assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your wish, and your wish must be realized. So live in the feeling of being the one you want to be, and that you shall be. Make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Recreate your thoughts, making your imagination your own private inner territory, and ultimately you will act based on how you've used this amazing power that you possess. Furthermore, allowing your highest self to rule, thinking like God thinks, means all things are possible. No assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, no fulfillment of your wishes. In other words, it is absolutely imperative to learn how to assume in your imagination the feeling of already having and being what you desire. Your thoughts are without form. If we could find a location in space for these thoughts, they would be in your head. But your head has boundaries, and your thoughts do not have boundaries, so they could reside anywhere or nowhere. You choose the thought that you prefer from the trillions of thoughts that continuously flow through your mind on that never-ending conveyor belt. You can pick one that suits you, put it back, and take another one at any time. Your imagination is the repository of thoughts that you opt to keep. Your feelings, on the other hand, are experienced in your body, the place where you do all of your living in this corporeal, material world. Your feelings play more of a role in your life than you realize. In order to learn something intellectually, you engage in the practice of mental discipline, studying, researching, memorizing facts, cogitating, participating in discussions, and seeking expert opinions. Ultimately, you draw conclusions about what you've been analyzing. You know the facts and are confident you've mastered the subject through the thinking process. Knowing something spiritually is a very different matter altogether. Here you can cogitate, ruminate, and analyze endlessly without accessing any more enlightened awareness of what you are studying. In order to know something spiritually, you must experience it. There is no other way. You cannot simply think your way to a new awareness. You must experience it. And the only vehicles you have for directly experiencing a new and higher vision of yourself are your feelings. What does it feel like in your body? You may have placed a picture in your imagination of who you'd like to be, but if you can't assume the feeling of that wish fulfilled, you'll find it impossible to make your future dream a present fact. Yet you do have this wondrous power to take a thought that is in your imagination, live from that place in your daily life, and then experience in your body exactly how that feels, and stay with this feeling. These words I am channeling for you right now are among the most important you will hear in this entire program, and perhaps in your entire lifetime. Your feelings are where you live. If you've been able to assume the feeling within your heart and genuinely feel the love that this activity brings to you, you will, as Neville states, be in a place where your wish must be realized. Such is the power of your feelings. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. To feel I will be is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is rather than a state that is not. Sensation precedes manifestation and is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. Here you are being encouraged to feel only the state you desire to realize. By literally feeling the reality of the state that you seek, which is firmly in your imagination, you have the means of creating miracles. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. No idea can be impressed on the subconscious mind until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Your subconscious impressions are reflected in the conditions of your world. The strange and wonderful thing about your subconscious mind is that it always accepts as true what you feel to be true. The key words here are feel to be true. Your feelings allow your subconscious mind to spring into action. The utmost feeling that defines God and your own highest self is the feeling of love. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. Because your feelings, especially the feeling of love, are impressed on your subconscious mind, which is responsible for virtually everything that you do, experience, and manifest in your life, your mission is to get to that place of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even if the wish has yet to materialize in your physical reality. Assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled involves this fundamental awareness of how the subconscious mind works. Your subconscious mind is not personal. It's an expression of the one universal subconscious mind that we all use. This is a gnarly concept because your ego, where you spend the vast majority of your time, is so personal that you cannot grasp that we all share the same, the only subconscious mind. As Neville states, quote, "The subconscious is not selective. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons," unquote. You want to keep tabs on what feelings you are associating with the wishes you have placed in your imagination, because whatever they are, you will see the universe aligning with them to provide experiences that match up with what you have impressed upon this universal subconscious mind. Think thoughts like, I am well, I am strong, I am prosperous, and I am employed. Place them into your imagination, and then assume the feeling of that wish fulfilled. If you can experience the feeling of love and joy and exhilaration, peace and happiness in your body, even when your sensations are contradictory, your subconscious records the feelings. Neville is very clear about this. He says, quote, "To impress the subconscious with the desirable state, you must assume the feeling that would be yours had you already realized your wish," unquote. Feeling any state you wish to achieve is the experience that impresses it on the subconscious. Once again, turning to Neville, he tells us, quote, "The subconscious is the womb of creation. It receives the idea unto itself through the feelings of man. It never changes the idea received, but always gives it form," unquote. Always gives it form, meaning that you must begin programming your subconscious mind, which will take over much like mine did when I laced up those ice skates without any prodding from my thinking or conscious mind, in spite of a 40-year interval. The subconscious mind accepts as true what you feel is true. Your feelings determine your reality because they're impressed on the subconscious. Consciously feeling hopeless and entertaining the idea in your imagination with even more imaginative feelings of hopelessness will impress on the subconscious mind the idea of failure. Consequently, you will be offered experiences by the one universal subconscious mind that will match what you felt is true. Remember, the subconscious mind is impersonal and non-selective. It cannot make a distinction between what you feel as a result of your daily life experiences and what you feel as a result of what you have placed into your imagination as a future desire. If you put the seed of failure into the subconscious and feed it with feeling that way, it will reproduce failure. If you plant the seed of disease into your subconscious mind by feeling this way in your body, it will augment disease for you. If you plant the seed of misery into your subconscious mind by feeling miserable, it will cultivate and produce misery for you. This is why it is so all-out crucial to begin feeling in your body what you would like to manifest into your life. You can get to the point where the magnetic-like power in your own field of energy is so joyfully loving that you can have a mere flash of imagining and feeling something powerful and good, and with almost no passage of three-dimensional time, it will appear in your life. Whatever you wish to manifest, associate a feeling with it and impress that feeling on the universal subconscious mind, and it will do the rest. I bathe this thought in pure love and feel the happiness that these words will bring to millions of people. I feel that loving sense of accomplishment in my entire being, inner and outer. The feeling I'm impressing on the subconscious mind is pure, ecstatic love. God is love, and with God all things are possible. I know the universal mind must act upon what has been impressed upon it, and I am patient and I am content. If you seek on the outside that which you are unwilling or unable to feel on the inside, you're simply seeking in vain. You attain that which you are, not simply what you want. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and because you are experiencing it, that is what will manifest for you. The subconscious mind creates exactly what you believe in and can feel in your body. God and all that He created is good. When you choose to feel good, you are choosing to feel what I described earlier as your highest self, the oneness that is called both good and God. Commit to making this your reality by repeating your intention to feel God realized. Say to yourself, I intend to feel good, or as a synonym for God, I intend to feel love. Feel the feeling of love in your body directed at what you place in your imagination as an idea, and then you activate the subconscious mind. The moment it receives a feeling impression, it takes action on working out the ways of its expression. Love is the feeling you must learn to assume. Subconscious mind is really a piece of the one mind, and you and I are living in that mind. This universal subconscious mind is the first cause and the stuff from which all things are made. This thingless thing is really love. When you feel it, truly feel it within as your private inner awareness regarding what you would like to manifest, you gain the power of creation. Recall what St. Francis of Assisi said in one line of his famous prayer, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. You are asking in this prayer to have the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you experience anger, frustration, fear, doubt, worry, stress, and so on, ramp up your love and immerse those negative feelings in a container of pure love. Simply choose to feel good because every moment of offering love brings your little sliver of subconscious mind into harmony with the all-creating one universal subconscious mind that is defined as love. I trust I've awakened with you the awareness that your feelings play a huge role in your becoming a God-realized, manifesting being. Neville states this very clearly, quote, denying the evidence of the senses and appropriating the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the way to the realization of your desire, unquote. Apply his wisdom beginning now. It will serve you in ways that you may never have imagined in common hours. And remember that picturing the future without assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is nothing but futile daydreaming. Practice feeling a thought that you have inserted into your imagination. Remember that a feeling is what you feel in your body as you contemplate what it is you wish to manifest or who you would like to become. Close your eyes and experience what that feels like in your body. Work with sensations that are not only your experience of what you are imagining in your body, but are triggers that assist you in moving from a thought to a hardened physical reality. Whatever feelings you are attempting to notice in your body regarding your wishes or desire, bathe it in love, the synonym for God. Imagine what you want. Imagine and feel that love as if you were now in possession of it. Continue doing this using love until your desire actually belongs to you. During this process, remind yourself that the more love, that is, the more God you offer, the sooner desire becomes reality. Look into your mirror fearlessly, saying, I not only love you, I am love. Acquaint yourself with the subconscious mind. Your piece of subconscious mind acts on what you program into it so that it becomes your automatic mind acting habitually. Decide on a habit that you would like to be automatic. You have the power to impress upon the subconscious mind any I am of your choosing. Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. When you think, choose carefully the thoughts of things you'd like to be. Thoughts entertained in the minds of men become tomorrow's objectified whims. You want to decide to live from the end you're wishing for, not toward an end that others have decided for you. Thus, you must discard what your senses tell you and stay with your subjective attention, persistently and adamantly proclaiming, I am perfect health. Your subjective attention is unrelated to what you have conditioned your subconscious mind to believe to be your reality, as indicated by what your five senses so convincingly tell you. You are the I am that I am, and that is your tumor-free existence. Redirect your attention away from debates aimed at disputing or convincing an external attitude and towards placing your attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The outcome depends on your inner attitude, your subjective attention. You might consider being like a pit bull, teeth firmly planted on a rubber bone. You must attach yourself spiritually to what you have placed in your imagination as a future fact, and never, but never allow anyone, anything, any circumstance, no matter how persuasive their case, to alter what you know to be your destiny. Every single item that brings up the subject of what you are in the process of creating for yourself must immediately trigger in you a response of putting all of your mental, emotional, and physical attention on the I am that you have placed in your imagination. This is where using that wonderful trash button will be immensely useful to you. You can do everything right in the first three foundations of a wishes-fulfilled life, but if you allow your attention to be diverted by an outer stimulus and abandon even for a moment the I am in your imagination, you will delete the entire project. Develop a healthy attitude towards your highest self and all that it beckons you to be by redirecting a habit of being influenced by outer objective factors to trusting your ability to choose subjective attention and focusing on inner rather than outer directives. When you trust yourself to decide what it is to be your destiny, you don't allow externals to discourage or influence you. What you place your attention on is your burning desire and intense yearning combined with an intention to make that your reality. You never allow outer circumstances to deflect you from your desires. This inner picture in your imagination is undisturbed by opinions or provocations that originate outside of yourself. Subjective attention means that you and only you are the subject that impacts the burning desires in your imagination. Remember, these ideas in your imagination are simply thoughts that are being treated by you as present facts. You are living and feeling as if your future dream is already a present fact. Allowing a research report or news stories or contrary opinions or contradictory incidents, pronouncements by a government agency, new laws, or anything else to take your attention away from the wishes in your imagination dismantles and destroys your desired outcome. You must have faith, and faith is attained through complete trust and confidence in the power of the one universal mind, which you are inextricably a piece of. It is the God-realized you that placed those thoughts and feelings into your mind and your body. You are the subject here, and therefore you must trust in your subjective attention and not allow external objective factors to hold sway over how you use your attention. I am the miracle-working presence in everything I require to have done. I will be is a confession that I am not. The Father's will is always I am. Until you realize that you are the Father, there is only one I am, and your infinite self is that I am, your will is always I will be. Seek divine wealth, not the paltry tinsel of earth. After acquiring inward treasure, you will find that outward supply is always forthcoming. Your inward treasure is your feeling of living in a world of unlimited abundance. Refuse to allow any external data to deflect you from what you have placed in your imagination. Always live from your subjective feeling of, I am prosperous, I am wealthy, I am content. With your imagination, you will then program your subconscious mind to align with experiences that match what you feel in your body. I feel prosperous, and I know that I will continue to act on my inner experiences of abundance, and that universal mind will also offer me the right people and the events and the circumstances guiding me on this spiritual path of extraordinary higher awareness. The moment you say I am, you set in motion this power that has inherent within it all these faculties. It has all substance and must take on whatever form the attention of the mind is fixed upon. The I am is the fathomless mind of God. Use this fathomless mind of yours to place your attention always on what is aligned with your source of being, the unlimited abundance that is the highest good for all concerned. Your intention is to live a life of happiness. Happiness isn't something in the material world that can be acquired and stored and used when needed or wanted. If it were, I'd give you a lifetime supply that would guarantee a happy life. No, happiness is an attitude that comes from within you. It's accessible when you place in your imagination an I am statement that reflects your attunement with the simple truth that happiness is indeed an inside job. Happiness is an inner belief that you bring to everyone and everything you undertake, rather than expecting your happiness to come to you from others or from your accomplishments or your acquisitions. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. State your intention to live a happy, contented life, place it squarely in the most prominent place within your imagination, and live from that place as if it were your reality. When circumstances and or your five senses try to influence you that you're wrong, gently and with loving confidence, let the fearful or naysaying thoughts drift by like passing clouds as you focus on your nourishing imagination, which cannot be altered without your agreement. Neville speaks without hesitation on this matter. Quote, "The promise is definite that if you are shameless in your impudence in assuming that you already have that which your senses deny, it shall be given unto you. Your desire shall be attained." In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, while slumbering on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction. It is in sleep that you enter the world of your subconscious mind, and it is here that you will be making your impression and receiving your instructions, as indicated in this biblical quote from the book of Job. I would like you to think about the nature of your subconscious mind, which has been programmed by your conscious mind to act habitually, that is, without thinking about what you are doing or not doing. The feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish realized, is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or have done before you drop off to sleep. So this is what you must ask yourself as you get closer and closer to dropping off into the unconsciousness of sleep. If my wishes were realized, how would it feel right here, right now in my body? Stay with that thought until you begin to feel your body shift into what that feels like. I am God in action. All you have to do is understand this power is within you and be in a state of gratitude for your highest self, which is God. Remember those three magic words. You are God. There is only one subconscious mind, and your own subconscious mind is a part of that one mind. That invisible part of you is really the mind of God at work, as long as you don't edge God out. That's ego, which is what your conscious mind has probably been trained to do. If your subconscious mind receives your conviction that you have money, you will have money. If it receives the conviction that I am happy, I am healthy, I am content, I am love, I am wise, or any other statement downloaded with conviction, the subconscious mind will bring it into your physical reality. I am not suggesting that you have hope or tell yourself maybe or use the last 5 minutes awake to say, I will be happy, I will be prosperous, I hope to one day be content. Use the name that God gave to Moses as he described who he is. I am that. I am. This is where faith plays a decisive role. You must extinguish any thought that being one with God is impossible. That is the false self at work. the contaminated personal subconscious that receives toxic, self-limiting ideas and turns them into your unfulfilled reality. You are one with the one universal subconscious mind of God that never sleeps and works for you while your conscious mind slumbers. You want it to work for you, using what you downloaded into it, even as you are in deep sleep. The subconscious receives impressions only through the feelings of man, and in a way known only to itself, gives these impressions form and expression. While asleep, you dream, entering a totally unique dimension that feels absolutely real for all the time you're dreaming. During dream time, your subconscious mind takes over, presenting you with a magical world where everything occurs without your active participation. You don't have to get up and do anything. You don't need to move, and you don't need the assistance of anyone. You don't need money, luck, tools, transportation of any kind, your family, your church, an education, a book, nothing. It all takes place while your physical self is in bed, unconscious, out of your body, yet still attached to it. How does all of this stupendous manifestation take place in a way known only to itself? There are some things taking place while you slumber that might give you pause. 1/3 of your life is lived in a reality that offers you clues as to what is possible for you when you're in your dreams awake. You can get a glimmer of how the one universal subconscious mind works if you can look back from a waking state and examine what is taking place during the sleeping third of your life. In your dream state, you're able to create anything that you desire simply by using your powers of thought to make it happen. You don't have to get out of bed, get dressed, set a goal, and then an intention, go to a car dealership to test drive the car you love, write a check, and drive away with your new purchase. All you need to do is place the idea into your sleepy imagination, feel it in your body, your heart rate goes up, your breathing increases, you are feeling the joy in your smile, and voila, there it is. You are driving in your new car. It's all very real. And all you had to do was have the thought, live from the end and feel it. Your subconscious mind, now fully connected to the one subconscious mind, has allowed you to participate in the true art of manifestation. And as long as you stay in your dream state, unconscious in your slumber, quote, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction, as it is revealed in the book of Job. In Anita Moorjani's near-death experience report, quoted earlier, she speaks about the absence of time and the sensation that everything seemed to be happening at once. No time experience, only now. And so it is in your dream state as well. You can be 5 years old and 50 years old, all at the same time in your dream. You can be with the same person simultaneously, alive and dead, in your dream. Albert Einstein's study of quantum physics was devoted to the simple message that we live in a completed universe, and that time is an invention of man and essentially an illusion. Anita's NDE unconscious state reinforces Einstein's idea of no time. Anita said that past lives did not exist in those moments. Everything was happening now. The only way she could describe it was that what we call past lives appeared to be parallel lives, and that everything was simply all one. In your unconscious sleep state, you can be anything and everything. You can be yourself and someone else or something else, even an animal, simultaneously. Linearity seems to disappear. Anything that you can imagine is yours. Nothing is impossible. Want to fly? Then imagine it and feel it, and off you go. While asleep and dreaming, you're not restricted to cause and effect. In your dreaming body, you can come and go as you please. Things do not have to follow the same rules that seem to apply to your waking world. If you imagine and feel it as a present moment fact, it's there for you instantaneously. Everything you need for the dream is created by you in harmony with your subconscious mind. You don't have to do anything. Just allow your thoughts to create what they desire and to feel it in your sleeping body. Think about all of the things that take place in the 1/3 of your life while you sleep. There's no time, no cause and effect. Everything you experience is created by your imagination. The people and events are all illusions, simply figments of your imagination. There's no beginning, there's no end, no linear progression, and it all seems to make perfect sense as long as you're in the dream state. I'm reminded of Henry David Thoreau's observation that our truest life is when we are in our dreams awake. It seems only logical to me that if during 1/3 of our life on planet Earth we are capable of manifesting anything that we place our attention on without having to expend any physical effort, only by allowing ourselves to transcend time and space, then why not in the other 2/3 of our life? This is what I believe Thoreau is suggesting when he urges us to be true to our authentic selves by being a waking dreamer. As you look back at it from your awakened state, the time while you are in deep slumber provides you clues as to what is possible when you begin to awaken from this dream as well. You have experienced oneness, timelessness, miracle-making, and having your wishes fulfilled instantaneously for 1/3 of your life. Become a waking dreamer and begin to apply this same awareness to the entirety of your life. All of the things I've written throughout this entire book, you are capable of achieving while asleep. Make them your personal reality in all of your waking hours as well. Remember, the only way you can be sure you were dreaming is to awaken. If you never awakened, it would all be the unlimited reality of your dream state. And so it is with the 2/3 of your life as well. The only way you will ever know you were dreaming is to revive while you are still alive and look back at your dream from this awakened perspective. Remind yourself that you can indeed do as Thoreau suggests and find your truest self by being, in your dreams, awake. Neville offers you these words on what takes place while you sleep. Quote, "Sleep is the door through which the conscious, waking mind passes to be creatively joined to the subconscious. Sleep conceals the creative act, while the objective world reveals it. In sleep, man impresses the subconscious with his conception of himself." Unquote. Each night, as I drift off to sleep, I adamantly refuse to use this precious time to review anything that I do not want to be reinforced in the hours of being immersed in my subconscious mind. I choose to impress upon my subconscious mind, and therefore the mind of God to which I am eternally joined, my conception of myself as a divine creator in alignment with the one mind. I groggily reiterate my I ams, which I have placed in my imagination, and I remember that my slumber will be dominated by my last waking concept of myself. I am peaceful, I am content, I am love, I am writing, I am the governing power of the universe, and I attract only to myself those who are in alignment with my highest ideals of myself. This is my nightly ritual, always eschewing any temptation to go over any fear of unpleasantness that my ego might be asking me to review. I assume the feeling in my body of those I am statements already fulfilled, and I enter my sleep inviting the instruction that my subconscious mind welcomes. I know that I'm allowing myself to be programmed while asleep. For the next day, I rise knowing that I am a free agent. I understand that every action and event of the day is essentially predetermined by my feelings as I prepare for sleep. And while I was in that place of warmth and trust in the arms of the one universal subconscious mind. Practice thinking like God, your highest self, thinks. I am the governing presence, governing in perfect divine order, commanding harmony, happiness, and the presence of God's opulence in my mind, my home, and my world. The time it takes your assumption to become fact, your desire to be fulfilled, is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling of already being what you want to be, of already having what you desire. The fact that it does not feel natural to you to be what you imagine yourself to be is the secret of your failure. Regardless of your desire, regardless of how faithfully and intelligently you follow the law, if you do not feel natural about what you want to be, you will not be it. The essential feeling of naturalness can be achieved by persistently filling your consciousness with imagination, imagining yourself being what you want to be or having what you desire. Therefore, when you say, I am the conquering presence, I command this I am presence to govern perfectly my mind, my home, affairs, and world, you have sent forth the greatest decree possible to be given. Put all your power back with God, and then when you command, no matter what it is you want, you have all power instantly on hand to bring forth the fulfillment of your decree. Say to your divine self, See here, God. Come forth and take care of this. God wants you to set him to work. This releases a flood of the God energy, intelligence, and substance, which flows forth to do the command. You must take the unconditional stand with your body that the I Am presence governs this physical body completely and compels it into obedience. The more attention you give your body, the more it is the master, and the more it will demand and keep demanding from you. You never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel is true of others. And the deep of yourself is truly your highest self, which is, of course, God. Let the God that you are, the God that Jesus said you are, the God that is your very essence, your deepest self, let this be the energy you draw upon to fill your imagination. And then, know that you are fully aligned with the only source that is responsible for all of creation. As you begin to see your divinely aligned manifestations show up in your physical world, think like God thinks, and share any munificence with others with no expectation of anything back, including even a thank you if it's not forthcoming. As you place your intentions into your imagination and assume the feeling of those intentions being fulfilled, ask not for anything that is outside the great umbrella of love that is God. The words of Jesus in the book of Luke sum up all that I'm saying here. Quote, "But if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good for you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. But love your enemies, do good and lend, hoping for nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore be merciful, just as your Father also is merciful. The great sage is kind to the kind, and kind to the unkind, because kindness is his nature. If you can make your desires harmonize with the messages of the above passage while practicing humility and keeping your ego at bay, you will come to see the truth in Neville's observation that, quote, you never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are, unquote. The key here is the deep of yourself. That is your highest self. The student should constantly look within his human self and see what habits or creations are there that need to be plucked out and disposed of. For only by refusing to any longer allow habits of judging, condemning, and criticizing to exist can he be free. The true activity of the student is only to perfect his own world, and he cannot do it as long as he sees imperfection in the world of another of God's children. The moment you accept the wish as an accomplished fact, the subconscious finds means for its realization. To pray successfully, then, you must yield to the wish, that is, feel the wish fulfilled. Being a piece of God, and therefore altogether God, as a part of the entire process of creation, you become an active participant in your own private prayerful moments. Consider shutting out your senses completely, along with all of the evidence they continually place before you, because you are, in your prayers, going to attempt to feel what they, that is, your senses, will most assuredly deny. There is no possible way of attaining a quality or a desired attribute without claiming it. Be willing to change your concept of yourself, which means changing what you have believed to be true. Recognize yourself as always connected to your source of being. Become willing to say, I am God, from an egoless perspective. Treasure your greatest gift, your imagination. Live as if what you desire is already here. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Never let your attention be directed by anything or anyone other than your own highest self. Use the last moments of your day before sleeping to reinforce in your mind your desires as fulfilled. Have a mind that is open to all possibilities. Remember always, from the words of Rumi, quote, you were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly.